Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this wrap. That's what most of the clothing websites seem to call it, is a wrap. Sometimes they call it a shawl. It's called a variety of names. But basically, it's just got a little bit of seams in it, 2 seams on the side. The edges are just folded over and stitched. And I'm going to show you how to custom make one of these, because when I buy them, they're always way too long and way too wide. So I'll show you how to make it to fit your body. Okay, let's get started. In a moment, I'm going to show you the type of fabrics that you should select from. But also your machine needs to be set up correctly. Because these fabrics are so sheer, you need to make sure you have the proper throat plate on. This has a very wide opening. It's for doing stitches like a zigzag, so you need it open really wide. But make sure that this is the one you're using. You've got one that's just a tiny hole for your needle to go down through. If you use the other one that's wide, your sheer fabric may get shoved down inside of the throat plate, and then you've got a mess trying to untangle it, and you might tear your fabric. Another thing I want to mention very quickly is, because the fabric is sheer, you need to lengthen your stitch length to at least 3.0. Otherwise, if you need to rip out your stitches, it's going to be almost impossible. Again, change it to 3.0. I'm going to go over the type of fabrics you need to look for in order to make this lady's wrap. These two right here are purchased from Walmart. In fact, all of these fabrics on the table except one was purchased from Walmart. And all of these that were from Walmart were wrapped, pre-wrapped, pre-cut. And they are 2 yards for $4. And so it's really reasonably priced. This is a gauze, so you want fabrics that flow. They're not stiff. Don't pick anything stiff because this won't work very well. This is like a chiffon. It's polyester, and so this is also a good choice. Now this is another fabric from Walmart that was also pre-wrapped. It's sheer and very flowing also. So they come in a variety of prints. This one here, also from Walmart, is also very sheer. Now this one I also got from Walmart, and it's kind of a lace, and it's very flowing, and it's polyester also, and it's a little see-through because of the lace effect, and it's very flowing. It's not stiff. This white one is very similar to the green. I purchased it from Joann's, and it's also very flowing. This one's a little more dressy. So depend on the look that you're going for. You need to look at the qualities of, is it flowing? Is it going to hang right? I've purchased a few wraps, and because I'm short, they're always too long and often too wide. So if you want to make it custom to your body, here's how you measure. You want to take a tape measure, and you want to measure the width that you would like your wrap. So in other words, how far down the arm do you want the edge of the fabric to go? So you can have it go all the way down to your wrist if you want, or you can have it go from below your elbow, or maybe you want it real short and you want it up here. So take your tape measure and measure across from end to end where and how long you want, or wide you want this to be. Then to find out length, you want to take your tape measure and put it up on top of your shoulder and measure how far down. Maybe you only want it to come to your hips, maybe just below the hips, maybe all the way down to the knee, or even longer. So measure that length, then double the length, and on all your measurements, add about 2 inches for hemming. How much fabric you buy depends on your length that you want your wrap. For me, I'm only going to need to buy about 34 inches, or I'll just go ahead and buy a yard, because the width of my fabric is 60 inches. That means it's going to go 30 inches down the front of me, which is more than enough length that I want. But if you're tall and you want it wider than this 60 inches, then you're going to need to buy more fabric and then actually fold your fabric in a different way. So I'm going to be going over how to fold your fabric. So if you want a shorter wrap, or you're short like me, you don't want it very long, you're going to have your selvage edges folded together and smooth out your fabric. And then you're going to measure from raw edge to where you want it, so you know how much to get. So I wanted to go over almost a yard, so I just bought a yard just in case I didn't measure correctly. For those of you who need more than a 60-inch width, then you're going to have to fold your fabric just the opposite. You're going to have to fold it with your raw edges together to determine how much you need. So let's look at a diagram. As I mentioned previously, if you are shorter like I am, remember you're folding your selvage edges together, and over here are your raw edges. Then you have a folded area here. This is going to be your shoulder. Then you're going to take something round, and in the very center on the fold line, you're going to cut a 4.5-inch wide circular area, curved area. And then I'm going to show you how to cut the neckline and cut down the center. Now, for those of you who are tall and need a longer length, your selvage edges are going to be over here, and your raw edges are going to be at the bottom. Here is your fold line, and you're still going to cut a little curved area up here for the neckline. And then I'll be showing you in a moment how to cut down through the center. So no matter which way you are laying your fabric, you're all going to be cutting it in the same manner. So when it's folded, you're going to cut your neckline out first. Then you're going to unfold the fabric. And then up where your little cutout is for the neckline, you're going to be drawing some lines going down the center front. And then cut on the drawn lines just through one thickness. Don't cut through both sides, because those drawn lines are representing the front of your wrap. So let's look at the drawn lines. You've already cut out your little neck area up here. Now, through one thickness only, you've unfolded your fabric. You're going to draw a couple of lines from the edge of your curved neckline area down about 12 inches. For those of you who are taller, maybe 13 inches. And they come down into a V shape. So you need to find your center and then lay your ruler from the edge here down to that center point. Then draw a line going straight down to the bottom or lower edge of your fabric. Now you can use tailor's chalk if you want, because it can be easily brushed away, or use a fabric marker, because many of your fabric markers disappear when you iron it or when you get it wet. Right here is my folded edge, and I've put a pin right there where my center is. And then this is my 4.5 area opening right here. I'm going to take my pin out just for a moment. And I've taken something round. It could be a large jar lid or a round plate. And I'm going to put the edge of the plate right up here where my little marks meet. So it's just a slight curve you're cutting. Now you can go ahead and draw on your fabric and then cut it out. I'm just going to use this rotary cutter. When you're working with fabric like this, it's very slinky. It's very hard to keep it in place. So that's why I like having this plate down where I can press down and the fabric will stay in place. And I'll just go ahead and cut around this curved area. So now you need to unfold your fabric. This is real important because you don't want to cut through both sides, because you're now cutting the neckline and down the front opening. So you're only going to cut on one side. So here's my center of my neck, and I'm going to place my ruler, get it moved over there, hold on a second, and I'm going to place it on my center line. That's why I like using these large cutting mats, because I can kind of see the line through the fabric. And you're going to measure down about 12 inches. And I put a little red dot down here for myself. Now I'm using a Sharpie marker. Don't use that on your fabric. This is just for the purpose of this video so you could see it. So I hope you can see my little red dot. So then you're going to use this in a moment to cut down through the center. But the next thing you want to do, and it is very hard to keep your fabric still, so I use little weights that I've got, and that is helping me a little bit. So I'm going to go from one corner of the neck opening and go down to that red dot, and I'm going to cut it open. So let me get my fabric lined up without stretching and moving my fabric. And then I'm just going to, you can either draw on it and then cut later, or you can do what I'm doing, is I'm cutting right down to that red dot. And there it is, right there. I'm going to go on the other side of the neckline and then do the same thing. Line it up and then cut. And always take your time, and there you go. And so now I've got this much cut out. Let me cut this little part right here. Then from the little V opening right down here at the point, line up your ruler to the very edge, bottom edge of your wrap, and cut right down through the middle. On this next step, you can either press or just fold and pin. On some fabrics, the pressing works out really, really well. So it's going to depend on what fabric you selected. This particular little chiffon-like fabric was a little difficult to press. But this is what you need to do, is on all of your raw edges down the center and around the neckline, you're going to fold it over once and press. And then fold it over again and press. After you've finished all your pressing, then you're going to stitch that edge down, that inside folded edge down, all the way down. Once you've done the area down the front and around the neck, then go to your side edges and do those also. Now you're going to stitch up your side seams. And so you need to bring front sides of your fabric together. So here's one of my side seams here. And I'm going to go 10 inches down from the shoulder. Here's my folded edge up here. I'm going to go down 10 inches and put a pin. Then you're going to continue pinning, but then down here on this bottom edge, you want to decide if you're going to leave a little slit, an opening on the side, or if you want to stitch it all the way down. So if you want to stitch it all the way down, then go ahead and stitch right along your edge here on the inside of where your folded edge is, and stitch down to wherever you want to stop, and then back stitch at the beginning and the end. And one other thing I want to mention that's really important that I didn't mention earlier is please change your stitch length when stitching on this garment to 3.0. The fabric is so thin and so slinky that if your stitch length is too short and you need to rip out your stitches, you're not going to be able to do it. So make sure you change that stitch length to 3.0. Before you do your final step, which is to hem the bottom, you want to make sure you go around and press all your seams so you relax that thread and everything lays flat and smooth. Then go to your bottom edge, fold it over twice, and then stitch it down. Well, here it is. It's all done, and this is what it looks like on this particular mannequin. Now, I made it more to my specifications, but again, remember, you can make this any size you want. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you try making this garment. It's really not difficult at all. If you're interested in other clothing projects for beginners, then you want to go and check below your YouTube screen. You want to scroll down to the description section. Click on the down arrow and expand it open, and you will see links listed there. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and make sure you go and check out my Facebook page. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.